comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hey there. Hey, good morning, and sorry about the slight delay. Hey, I'm out of breath. Susan, are you there?
I am here.
Oh, God.
I've been waiting patiently like everybody else.
Well, I have to tell you, a comedy of errors. I mean, you cannot imagine. You cannot imagine. I finally am going to make it, and I race into the lobby, and the fire alarm starts up. You know,
Right, so
the elevators close down. The elevators stop working. And so, anyway, sorry. I hope people are still out there. Oh. So, I don't have my act together here at all.
well,
I'll get it.
I don't have my act together either because I'm gonna hit the road right after we hang up, and
I know
I've had I have guys working here since 7 o'clock this morning,
Cool.
and dogs and cats dealing with each other, and it's been a very busy morning.
Well, that's good.
So I haven't looked at anything either.
Okay. No, I've looked at stuff. It's a matter of just...
Of sorting it out? Well,
yeah.
Sort away.
Okay. Somebody just said, I'm just looking at usually I've got my emails under control. Somebody just said, I can't believe you laughed at Clarence's joke. Clarence joked yesterday. Let me see if I can remember it. Oh, I was talking about the Black Santa.
Yeah.
You've heard that story?
Mall, yeah.
Yeah. And then mentioned how Megyn Kelly on Fox News had 3 years ago flatly stated to her audience that Santa Claus, everybody knew Santa Claus and Jesus Christ were white.
Oh, because one's fictional and
Yeah, right.
One's a real person.
Yeah, well, whatever. One's a Semite, and he wouldn't have been white. He would have been brown. And the other,
Right.
who the hell knows? He could be chartreuse. I mean, he doesn't exist,
Right.
okay?
Right.
And then Clarence called and said, let me see if I can get this right. He said, no, wait. Santa Claus is black. Everybody knows he's black. He's got 3 hoes. See, you laughed. Carlo laughed over here. Ho, ho, ho. He black.
What was it? Someone who was reacting to the ruckus at the Mall of America said, "Well, we're just going to tell our kids anytime that they see a white Santa that he's a fake, and so is his husband."
Oh, my God. Jeez. Oh, God, these poor kids today. Oh, my God. Oh, gosh. Okay, so I think, I'm assuming Denise did that in a sort of satirical way.
I hope so. I'm so tired of all sides. I'm really tired of all sides.
And everybody's sensitivities?
Yeah, I'm tired of being sensitive. I'm tired of being insensitive. I'm tired of everybody thinking that they have to state their own stand on everything all the time. I think everybody should just shut the fuck up. Excuse my French.
Oh, my God, Susan, that's very unlike you. Okay, I understand. You've had it. You're fed up.
I am. I bought a vodka called Effin' just so that I can... You want some Effin' vodka?
Is that really what...
Very good vodka, by the way. And you can buy Effin' citrus and Effin', you can buy whatever you want. And
well, that's true.
Mom liked it so much that she bought some, too.
So she now, get me my effing vodka. Okay. I'm very slowly getting organized.
I'm trying
here.
to buy you time, but I'm not really.
No. I'm fine.
On all cylinders.
I'm fine. Oh God. So I saw a wonderful movie last night. For anybody looking for something that has, that totally will take you away, but not out of reality, into just another part of the world. It's this indie documentary about a young girl. She's 13, I think, who in Mongolia, who becomes an eagle huntress, which is part of their culture. This is a male thing. Fathers and sons do it. They train golden eagles, who then hunt for them and hunt fox. And then the fox is used to make clothes and warm clothes for them and all this stuff. And it's simply about this girl, this kid. She's the youngest. And there's this competition. And it is so... What are you doing? Susan.
What?
What? Stop it.
Things are falling.
Well, stop it. Am I on speaker?
No.
Okay. All right. So I got to tell you, it is so wonderful and real and just, of course, this does not play in theaters, around the world. So here in Pittsburgh, I'm telling my audience, here in Pittsburgh, it's at the Harris downtown. And I don't care if you've never been there, and I don't care if you think, oh, downtown, 7:30 at night, oh, my God. There's a parking garage right across the street, and it is 90 minutes of absolute vacation, I'd say. I loved it. So I'm just passing that on. And then there's another movie thing that's in the news a bit, and I want to bring this up because Susan, it always reminds me of our mother. When this would have been, what year was this? Last Tango in Paris. When did that come out?
In the mid-60s.
Really? Was it that long ago?
Sure, because I was still in high school.
Oh, you were at home. Okay. So it's probably then about 66, 67-ish. Because I was not. I was, I think, away.
And Mom saw it with Bill, so he must have come back. He must have...
Whatever, he was home. The two of them, my mother and my brother, went to see this movie that everybody was talking about, Last Tango in Paris. And it was such an occasion. This was the opening night, that a Green Bay television station was covering it and getting people's reactions when they came out of the theater, because for the time this was considered like outrageous movie, scandalous movie.
1972, I guess I wasn't home.
Okay, mostly because of a rape scene in it. And the rape scene in which the Marlon Brando, his character, rapes this young girl who was played by an actress who was 19 years old, Maria Schneider. And it has now, the rape scene involved a stick of butter. Okay? And that was one of the things that was just freaking everybody out. It involved a stick of butter. And my mom famously said, I don't know if it made it on the news, but when she came out of the theater with Bill, our brother, a reporter said, well, what did you think? What did you think of that scene? And Mom said something about, I think, given that this is the dairy state, it's a very, she made some joke about good butter placement or something.
Oh God, Mom.
No, well, I don't know. It was something. I've seen, now I can't remember the exact thing, but she made a joke.
Right.
Okay? And, which I thought was hilarious at the time, and so did Bill. We heap praise on her for her wit. Now it turns out that the director, Bernardo Bertolucci, it's come to light that he and Brando cooked up the rape scene the night before they shot it, and that Maria Schneider, the 19-year-old actress, was not in on it.
No.
And so what?
React appropriately to a rape.
What you see in that movie is an actual rape, because she did not consent. She did not know. And Bertolucci, in his, here's how he, now says, this is a quote, "I didn't want Maria to act her humiliation or act her rage. I wanted her, Maria, to feel the rage and humiliation." Well, excuse me.
What's an actress for? Just...
Well, so if you're shooting a murder scene, you would really murder somebody what? I'm sorry, Susan, I stepped on you, but it's just beyond belief.
No, I agree. It's just horrifying. These two guys wanted to rape her. That's all. They can say whatever they want.
They conspired to rape her.
An actor is an actor, and the whole point is that you're pretending, you are acting.
Well,
and to require that somebody, be raped to get an authentic reaction.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, they should. It makes me mad that Brando is dead, and Bertolucci, I guess, must be dead.
No, I don't think he's dead.
Well, he's going to be in jail.
Yeah, because
he admitted it.
And here's the quote. "I think she hated me and also Marlon because we didn't tell her."
Well, duh.
I am so blown away by this. So I saw that movie. Everybody who saw that movie, it's like looking at a snuff film. You're looking at an actual rape. And so she was not acting in that film. She was not. She was stunned. She was humiliated. She was in a rage. Believe me,
that affected her for the rest of her life.
That's right. There was no second take, I can assure you. That was the one and only take. And she, yes, had a pretty, never really recovered from it. She was depression and drug addiction the rest of her life. But the men made great art. So we better tell Mom.
Oh, I don't you think she knows? She reads the paper.
Is that all over the paper?
Yeah, it hit the papers again. I don't know why. She came out a couple of years ago and said this, but
nobody paid. No, Schneider came out years ago and said, I was raped in that movie, and nobody paid her any attention. It wasn't until one of the rapists, Bertolucci, says it. The man agrees. Yeah, it was
impunity. With impunity, just admits proudly that, and gives his rationale as if, oh, okay, well, you're allowed. And guess what? He was.
And you know what else he says? He says, long after the fact, I don't regret it. I don't regret it. Wow. So anyway, he just wanted to say.
Yeah, well, I can understand, because we seem to be going back to a time when that's all okay again.
I guess so. I mean, we're going to have a president in a few weeks
who did the same thing, who simply admits that sexual assault.
Yeah, they just grab him by the pussy. Yeah,
yes, he can.
That's our president. Yes, sir, Mr. President, sir.
It's the same thing. And the fact that, I don't know. I think women should rise up and take over.
Well, we tried to do that, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, we did. But some of the women didn't get the message.
No, a lot of the women didn't get the message. No, they instead voted for a guy who brags about assaulting women. Oh, dear. Okay, so on to another happy story. This fire in Oakland, I just want to point something out. I want to say that this loss of young life, I mean, this up to 36 people now, there's just a note sort of in a story in the New York Times about it, about why didn't inspectors and authorities shut down this tenement? They knew there were people living in this crazy patchwork building. And the reason they didn't shut it down is all over that area
all over
warehouses are being used for people to
studio apartment
people to live in.
$2 million. Where do you think people live?
That's right. So I just want to say, I think this is not unlike the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire in New York City in like the early 1900s, when those seamstresses were leaping out of the 8th story because they were trapped in this tenement, and so many were killed that day by fire, and it made Americans think about working conditions. Well, I got to tell, and things started to change after the Triangle factory. Americans thought, geez, this isn't right. Well, do you think Americans are thinking that now about this? Geez.
No, they just want to know who to sue. They don't want to clean up what causes this problem. They just want to know who to sue.
These people cannot find any affordable housing in this area. None. Zero. So they find these places. They squat in tenements. They're still paying somebody for this crap, right?
Yeah, I think it was $5,000 a month to this woman who gets to claim that she didn't know anything about anybody living there. And I'm sorry, if you're a landlord, then it is your responsibility to know what's going on in your premises. And every time
the owner of the building was coming, everybody was told, get your stuff out of here. Get it out. It is, I don't know. It's not just this building.
No, but the landlord did know that there were issues with electrical stuff and everything else and refused to do anything about it, whether there were people living there or not.
But I think the bigger issue is, where are people supposed to live?
In cities? Absolutely.
When the rich and the developers and the people who are doing just fine create a cost of living that is untenable, and
even if you have a job. I mean, even if you are a full-time working person, it doesn't mean that you can afford a rent, and it certainly doesn't mean that you can afford to buy.
Right.
I mean, in Chicago, I can just tell you, renting is far more expensive than buying.
Yeah, but if you don't have money
if you don't have the money for a down payment, then you can't pay half as much a month in mortgage.
So
for the same space that you would be paying twice as much in rent.
Well, I have to tell you, it seems to me it's sort of a civil right that there should be available and affordable, safe housing for Americans, the richest nation on earth. There's just a little problem with the distribution of that wealth, apparently. Nobody should have to die because they're poor, but they do constantly in this country. They die from lack of health care because they're poor. They die from lack of, safe housing because they're poor. And we don't. In fact, don't even react to it.
These people were at a party. I mean, these were mostly the residents that died. These were kids at a party.
Well, it was used as a space for, partying.
In a building that was not in any way up to code.
Not at all. Not at all. All right, well, I just wanted to say it's just beyond belief. But don't worry, we'll have really great housing under the Trump administration because Ben Carson has been chosen by the president-elect to head the cabinet level position of housing and urban development.
That is unless you're black, because we know that the president doesn't think that you should have to rent to black people.
Well, that is interesting because, yes, the president was, the soon-to-be president was sued along with his father for refusing to rent to people with too much melatonin. You can't, well, okay. I told myself I was just going to, try to take it nice and easy. Unbelievable. So there's that one, so the Electoral College, this actually becomes a done deal on the 19th. And that's when the electors cast their ballots. And I'm not sure who, there's one guy named Christopher Supran.
From Texas, yeah.
He's from Texas. He works as a paramedic. He was working as a paramedic in New York City on 9/11 as well. He's a Republican, always has been. And he's one of 538 people who will officially vote as the Electoral College for the next president of the United States. And he has written a piece for the opinion page of the New York Times today in which he says, "I owe no debt to a party. I do owe a debt to my children to leave them a nation they can trust. He is not going to cast his ballot for Trump." We have a call. Hello, caller. Hello.
Doing that terrible thing and going backwards to the topic.
What?
I wanted to talk about the last tango in Paris.
The last tango in Paris? I'm barely hearing you, though. Well, say something.
So I was just reading an interview of her from 2007, and in that she says that she knew before the scene that it was taking place. It was not in the script. And it says that she felt like she was raped. It seems a little bit ambiguous.
Well, there's nothing ambiguous about Bertolucci's comments. He flat out says...
There was an article in The Guardian where they talked to him again, and I haven't read that original thing, but he was saying that he was misinterpreted in that. I don't know. I didn't read the first thing.
Well,
the other thing I wanted to say is that...
Go ahead, Susan.
I think that what it is that there was... She knew that there was to be this sex scene, and that involved a simulated rape. She knew nothing about the butter.
Well, and I don't understand. I guess I'm confused as to why the butter makes it.
Well, she also didn't. It was supposed to be an acted rape scene. I don't think she knew
rape scene.
She was going to be anally raped by Marlon Brando while the cameras rolled. She was going to act that.
It's simulated.
Yeah, I guess I don't. I mean, I've seen the movie. It's been a while. I don't remember actually seeing actual genitals. So,
well, I'm never going to go see that movie again because I don't want to be a...
I think it was actually at the Harris.
Well, here is Bertolucci in 2013, okay? The sequence of the butter is an idea that I had with Marlon in the morning before shooting. He also went on to say that he felt horrible in a way for his treatment of Schneider, but he went on to say, quote, he wanted her reaction as a girl, not as an actress. I didn't want her to react humiliated. He wanted her to be humiliated. And he says he does not regret how he decided to direct the scene. To obtain, quote, here's another quote, to obtain something I think you have to be completely free. Huh. As if he was.
He was, she wasn't.
Yeah, and this is from an interview at an event at La Cinémathèque Française in Paris in 2013.
Right. Yeah, so But what I was going on was an interview that was published in yesterday's Guardian, where he said the only thing she wasn't aware of was the butter. So it didn't say anything about the anal part. So if that's the difference, then that's quite a big difference. And I would agree with you. So I guess I was just confused as to all these different pieces of information coming in, and I was worried that it was, like the liberals were going down the road of the sex pizza shop in D.C. or something like that.
No, I mean, these are quotes from the director. I'm sorry. Quotes from the director.
So I was reading quotes from the director in yesterday's piece, where it says he was just basically saying that all she was upset about was defiling a piece of butter or something. So it sounded quite different than he was saying that he was misunderstood.
Why? I speak as a woman here. Why would the butter? What's the big deal about the friggin' butter? You're being raped. Actually, if you're anally raped, you might appreciate the butter.
Right.
Jeez.
Sorry, I also don't want to make light of it either. So
okay, let's just drop it then.
Yeah, I'm fine doing that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, and I mean, here's the thing. When you're seeing sex scenes in movies, theoretically, they are simulated.
Well, they are.
Right.
Usually.
Weren't actually watching.
Usually. There are obviously times when they're not.
Well, if they aren't, then it's with consent.
Right.
And what you're using to rape somebody with, whether it's a part of your body or a broomstick or a stick of butter, penetration with any object without your consent is rape. Period.
I can't believe we have to explain that. Okay.
Just giving you the legals on it.
All right. What else we got here?
I don't know.
Nice.
Good morning. Good morning. What's next?
Okay, and I just got,
list?
I have no happy stuff today, and I'm really sorry, guys, but the movie, the Eagle Huntress is my only happy thing, and go see it. Seriously. Because the reality laid out in my morning newspapers.
No, because that's the only thing that you've even heard or seen in a long time that actually is about a young girl being empowered and being allowed to be empowered.
What's mind-blowing is that, she belongs to a nomadic culture in the mountains of Mongolia, and that it's patriarchal, but her father saw that she had this gift. And he didn't see any reason. He trained her like he would have trained the son. There was something so uplifting about that, the father's love and belief in his daughter's ability. And then when she went to this tournament and signed in to compete, there were a lot of old men sitting around who were appalled. But they let her compete. They did let her compete. And there's something so wonderful about these primitive people being much more somehow open to, flouting what has to be centuries upon centuries upon centuries of tradition, important tradition. And I also want to say I think they're Muslim too. So, a bunch of primitive nomadic Muslims acting unbelievably progressive. Speaking of Muslims as well, there's a growing group. This is, again, women who are spearheading it. And the group is called the Sisterhood of Salam Shalom. It is group of Muslim and Jewish women who for years now have been getting together. But since Trump, the numbers have risen, and so there are now 50 chapters of this group in more than 20 states. They had a recent gathering in New Jersey where 500 Muslim and Jewish women came together. And they're coming together because they all feel under attack. You know, a good thing that might come out of this is Muslims and Jews in America getting together.
Right. One hopes.
She said a lot of the Muslim women, there was a Holocaust survivor there, and a Muslim woman said, "How did you know when to get out?" And she, said, "Well, you cannot wait because those who didn't know are the ones that went to Auschwitz." So that old Holocaust survivor was saying, "Get out when you're..."
Sorry, wait a minute. I'm going to get away from the noise.
When the hair starts, standing up on the back of your neck. Also, a lot of Jews are starting to pledge that if, in fact, Trump goes through with his Muslim registry, where Muslim Americans should register.
Right, they're registering.
That Jews also should register as Muslims.
Right. Absolutely.
All Americans.
Everybody should.
Everybody should. Everybody. Well, the head of the Anti-Defamation League said he would immediately register as a Muslim.
A lot of people have.
Right. So that's it. Now, we'll see. So an interesting, I thought, Gail Collins piece the other day, in which she talked about the fact that, just about a week ago when Trump went to Ohio on his victory tour, and
was it that long? Yeah.
Has it been? And he said, here's a direct quote: "We won in a landslide. That was a landslide." The current tally, by the way,
it's almost 3 million.
It's getting. If you round up, it's 3 million now. Population of number of states. Entire population of Houston, Texas, a lot of other big cities. She has
the privilege of getting the most votes of any loser.
And the
least votes of any winner.
The least votes of any winner. And he stands up and says, "We won in a landslide."
Right.
And now,
I don't know who's going to bomb us first. The Chinese, whether we're going to get embroiled in a big Middle Eastern war.
It's unbelievable. I mean, a bull in a nuclear china shop. This is really good. Anyway, Colin says, stuff like that is just so makes you crazy. But then you have to realize that he lives in the moment. You know how, no, he doesn't, because he bears grudges. So he doesn't live in the moment. But she says Trump, during that same appearance, cheerfully explained to his followers that he had no memory whatsoever of having promised to protect the carrier workers' jobs.
You're kidding.
No, he said, listen to this. Listen to this. We all remembered. He didn't remember. He said he didn't remember until he heard it on TV.
Well, that's because he just makes shit up. And who can remember all the shit you make up when that's how you work?
He said Trump told the folks in Indiana that he'd been watching the news one night last week. and saw a feature in which a carrier worker said he wasn't worried about the company's plans to move his job to Mexico because Donald Trump had promised to save it. Trump goes on to say, I said, I wonder if he's being sarcastic because that ship has sailed. But no, Trump said he then watched a clip of Donald Trump making a statement that Carrier's not going anywhere, and it was a surprise to him. How do you even...
That's right.
He had to watch a clip of himself on... He's telling this story. I didn't remember I said anything about the carrier jobs till I saw myself on television saying I would.
Well, and, as several people made it clear, this is, just a way of, a perfect way of teaching corporations how to blackmail the government. We're leaving, give us some money. I mean, how long before the taxpayers figure out that all these people that are against welfare, that they have just been required to pay the salaries of people that Trump, claims to have saved the jobs of?
Well, no, the taxpayers. Yeah, Susan.
Credits,
Susan, you're breaking up.
That?
Susan, you're breaking up.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and then this astonishing remark from Corey Lewandowski, once his campaign manager, and then, of course, a CNN contributor, and now back under in the embrace of Donald Trump. And at this forum at Harvard that's held, I guess, after every presidential election when all the combatants sit down and talk about the race, Corey Lewandowski actually said to the losing side, that'd be us, that, you people took him literally. He said, he's not somebody you take literally.
Yeah, because he makes shit up.
Right. Then he said, sometimes when you have a conversation with people, whether it's around the dinner table or at a bar, you're going to say things. And sometimes you don't have all the facts to back it up. Well, that's it. That's just the way he is. That's
good, but that's
shit.
Not the way the President of the United States should ever be. And he totally doesn't get it.
Do you realize he's not the president yet? And he's already created some foreign crises?
Well, he doesn't know that he's not the president yet.
Why is he
acting that way? I mean, when he tells Obama to step back on foreign policy because it's his now, he doesn't understand that, no, he's not the president yet. He doesn't get any of it. And as people have been, saying all the time, stop watching Saturday Night Live and start taking your security briefing.
Yeah, that'd be a good start. Stop having a guy right to a foot away from you who's going to head national security, your national security advisor, who is given to tweeting absolute fantasies as fact.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Flynn.
The Hillary pizza child abuse ring.
Yeah. So, I'm trying.
And what do you do about that when these idiots, when this guy thinks that he's doing a wonderful thing. If nobody else will do it, well, damn, he's going to go in there and save those children.
Well, if what I'm reading is right, this guy...
Sorry for him.
I feel sorry for him, too. I think he's just a bit of a schmo, but he felt he was going there to save children.
Right.
Because nobody was doing it.
Around to go save those kids.
They're children in underground corridors in that pizzeria that Hillary Clinton visits to molest. And I'm going to go, yeah. And he believed it. So he went in with his semi-automatic.
Who's this guy that that bankrolled the Minnesota wrestler ex-governor?
It starts with a T.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so these people who put out this false news, Hillary can't sue for slander because she's
a public figure. You can't.
But these poor schmoes that own a business that is being ruined by this, they're a bookstore owner and a pizza owner, they've been slandered.
Right.
They aren't public figures. So excuse me, we should be able to trace back where this lie started, and everybody who repeated it on from Breitbart to Reddit to all of these conscienceless sites and responsibility-less sites, and sue the pants off of them. They've caused real damage. In fact, the guy that took the gun in should sue the pants off of them.
Right. So, anyway, just 6 days before the election, the man who Trump wants as his national security advisor was tweeting a story that Clinton and Obama were involved somehow, were making money off of Syria, were profiting from the conflict, and that both should be tried for treason. He also tweeted a story that claimed that Bill Clinton, there was video evidence of Bill Clinton raping a teenage girl. This is going to be our national security advisor to the president.
I could tell the difference between fact and fiction.
Yeah, and he also, 6 days before the election, he said that prosecutors in New York had found evidence linking Hillary Clinton and much of her senior campaign staff to pedophilia, money laundering, perjury, and other felonies. This guy tweeted that 6 days before the election. People swallowed it whole, and now he's elevated to one of the most important posts in the White House. When he was head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, Obama's the one who got him out. He said, goodbye, we don't want you as head of DIA anymore. It was his fanciful reality that he lived in was so constant that the people who worked under him in the Defense Intelligence Agency said they had a name for his memos, a lot of his memos and other stuff, and they called them Flynn facts. In other words,
lies, not true.
Right. Well, Obama, got rid of him, and Trump scarfed him up. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, so also the fake news stuff, I just, it's beyond belief. I can't even, I need to talk about something else.
Well, just let me say this. We've had fake news for a long time, but it came with a big banner. This is fake news, like The Onion, like Mad Magazine. This is fake news, and it's to laugh at. Mm-hmm. And suddenly, you don't have to put up that this is nonsense, banner. And anybody says anything they want because it's free speech, and nobody has any... I mean, the people that are being... We really should talk about this. The people that are being damaged by the Internet. I'm not sure what the answer is, but I do believe that we have to be able to enforce some kind of policing of inappropriate, false speech.
Yeah, but the problem always is
the First Amendment
definition. And it's also definition.
You don't have a right to hurt other people with your speech. You don't have a right to cause actual damage to people. You don't have a right to bully them to death. You don't have a right to ruin their businesses. You don't have a right to ruin their careers. You didn't have these rights before the Internet. It was just easier to protect yourself, so it was less often committed. Now people feel that they can do this with anonymity.
Well, they can.
Get away with it.
That's right.
It's not protected speech. I'm not talking about protected speech. I'm talking about speech that was previously not protected and now seems to be protected.
I want to talk about another justice story, or lack thereof.
Go ahead.
I want to talk about the mistrial
Yeah.
in South Carolina.
Yep.
And I just want to say, I don't. There is video of the police officer 17 feet away shooting this black man in the back 8 times. How was he in fear of his life? The guy who is dead was running away from him, was not threatening him. And
I think what this holdout juror didn't get, I mean, I know he got the part about reasonable doubt, but what he didn't get is that just because the officer may actually have been frightened for his death, for his life.
He wasn't at that time when he shot him. The guy was running away.
I understand that because we have evidence of that. I'm saying that this reasonable doubt standard plays out different ways in different people's minds. I mean, the fact of the matter is this is going to be retried, and my guess is that he will be convicted.
Well, let's hope. But let me just say this. How in this, well, silly of me, I'll stop. You have a black victim, you have a white police officer defendant in a community that I understand is 48% African American. Why in the name of God was the jury all white except for one man? Why?
Well, the defense didn't strike any. The prosecution didn't. They have a right to strike voters to get a representative.
Well, and in fact,
look at the process.
In fact, 11 of those jurors had their heads screwed on straight,
right,
and voted guilty.
Right. One
was able to create.
The foreman characterized as nuts. He said, "This guy, whoever this is, I don't know if so. I think it was a man, but this person has issues. This is not making any sense. What's going on here?"
Can you imagine that one black man on that jury? And, of course, they elect him the foreman. So he's in charge of this. Can you imagine?
Well, I think they were smart to elect him the foreman.
Well, sure they were.
Sure.
No, I know. Jesus. I don't even hear people talking about this stuff anymore.
No, people just, I listen, I get it from the police officers' viewpoint that it's a hard job, but if they don't at this point begin to understand that there is a culture that has created their frequently inappropriate responses, that you don't just get carte blanche to kill people. There's several steps before you're allowed to do that.
But the innate racism in this country makes people feel threatened by black men when they're not being threatened by a black man. By his very presence is threatening.
But I want to point out that black cops frequently react.
No, they do the same thing. I know.
So it's not to just say that this is a racist attitude is
No, it shows that black cops often too react in the same way.
about the culture and of these police departments that you really have to just start all over, and I don't know how you do that. That's what needs to be done, because it's not that simple as white guys shooting black guys.
Jesus. All right. Well, another thing that should be wall-to-wall coverage, but should have been 5 months ago, but media were too busy with Hillary's emails. Is Trump's tangled business dealings and the unbelievable conflict of interest that is being created on every level. First of all, do you know he tweeted today? What did his last tweet was something about Boeing. He said, Boeing building new Air Force One. It's something like $5 billion, outrageous.
Disgrace, right?
A disgrace or something like that. Well, guess what? The CEO of Boeing is on Trump's transition team. Why is he tweeting that when he has immediate access to the CEO? Who's on his team? All right, so let's look. Donald Trump, who we know his income tax is under audit, as is his foundation stuff, all this stuff. The head of the Internal Revenue Service, as you know, would call the president the boss. So how does that work? The president is being now investigated by people who work for him. Then you have Deutsche Bank. Trump owes them, I forget how much. It's billions?
Hundreds of millions.
I thought it was even
a billion. I'm not so sure. It might very well be. And they're under investigation.
And Deutsche Bank is under investigation or in negotiations, excuse me, now with the Justice Department to settle claims over their mishandling of the mortgage-backed securities, in 2008, the disaster that put us into that recession. The Justice Department has penalized Deutsche Bank billions for how they screwed over tons of Americans. And now there's a negotiation going on because they're not sure Deutsche Bank can even come up with that money. But here we have President-elect Trump and his children running the Trump Organization, which owes hundreds of millions of dollars to Deutsche Bank, which is negotiating a settlement with the Justice Department, which will be run by an attorney general of Trump's choosing. And how is any justice supposed to get done when the president himself and his family are intermingled in all of these situations? I mean...
Well, it doesn't matter. He's a businessman and he's smart, and I'm sure he'll figure it out.
Turns out he's got some dealings in Taiwan.
Oh, I know. Wasn't that a surprise?
Oh, that was a shocker.
And, he's just... All things come back when he's in office and he can say, remember what I did for you. It's just, Too little, too late. Sorry. I mean, we were talking about this for a long time, but nobody else cared.
Here's somebody else bringing up an issue. What's the biggest thing that Trump has? It's his name. That's the brand. So, I mean, he sells the name. Often, there's a bunch of buildings all over the world that he didn't build.
And he doesn't even own.
He doesn't own. But the people who have that building bought the rights to call it Trump.
Right.
And he makes gazillions off of simply putting his name on things. But if that's his biggest wealth, his own name, and there are these towers all over the world with his name on it, stop and think about what a tempting target all those Trump buildings are for terrorists. And who is going to have to protect all those buildings with our president's name on them all over the world?
Well, they're already talking about how he's the most expensive president to protect.
It's just, Susan.
I know.
I know.
Listen, what can we say? A landslide of states didn't give a shit.
Well, okay. So I guess that's it, and I'm sorry. There was absolutely nothing uplifting to tell you about except that movie at the Harris. I'm telling you, wondrous. The Eagle Huntress. I hope you see it. Suze, safe travels.
Yeah.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be back again next Tuesday.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Bye. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, that's it for me. Sorry. I'll try to look for something a lot happier for tomorrow, okay? Yeah. See ya.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.